Oh, marketing automations. Sometimes we love them. Sometimes they leave us crying in the shower in the morning. Today, we're talking about all of the things marketing automations and how they actually can help us make our business better and smoother so that we're not pulling our hair out on doing the same repeated task over and over again. I'm excited for my guests for this roundtable episode. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Mindful Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Jones. Tune in every week as we redefine marketing playbooks to break free from what we should do so that we can scroll less, connect more, and grow together. I've recorded over 300 podcast episodes. Yeah, it's a lot of podcast episodes, and I've tried a lot of different virtual recording studios, but my favorite has been Riverside. Riverside makes their virtual recording studio look so profesh. My guests love it. Plus, I also low-key love recording YouTube videos in here as well because it's so easy to use. My team also loves Riverside because it spits out separate audio, video tracks, making editing easy breezy, lemon squeezy. And if you want a little magic, they've got this tool called Magic Clips, which uses AI to take your video and turn it into perfect social media sized videos. I'm talking vertical videos for TikTok and Instagram, Facebook Reels, all the places you can post these videos with the captions included, and you don't have to hunt and search for that perfect clip. So if you want to try this out for yourself, click the link that goes with this video, or if you're listening to the audio on the podcast, it's in the show notes, okay? Click that link, use the 15% off coupon code. It's DREA, D-R-E-A, and try Riverside for yourself. Thank you, Riverside. Hi, hello. Okay, we have three amazing guests today. I want everyone to introduce yourself. I'm going to start with Colie James, who is a repeat here on the podcast. Colie, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Colie James. I am a client experience systems strategist. I live right outside of Boulder, Colorado. And I'm simply obsessed with creating systems that stop you from doing the tedious admin work in the back end of your business and use a little automation to get some of that time back.
Beautiful. Love it. Succinct. Can we match this energy? I love it, Colie. Thank you. Dama, over to you. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dama Jue. I'm from San Francisco, but I live in New York, and I'm a funnel strategist. So I used to build funnels for people, but now I'm a little bit more hands off. I'm also a ThriveCart expert, and I love to help people kind of wrap their mind around the tech, not just the tech, but also the options for the tech and the opportunities for marketing automation, all the automation you never knew you needed because you need it. And you will love it once we get it set up in your business. So I'm all about high impact, low stress training, stuff you can implement in an afternoon. And of course, I also have ThriveCart Template Shop, which has beautiful full funnel templates and also trainings and all that jazz. So two separate brands, Dama Jue, which is like not ThriveCart stuff, email, marketing automation, marketing strategy, and then ThriveCart Template Shop. But it's just me. It's just me. One girl, two brands.
I love it. That's how I found you, by the way, was through ThriveCart. I switched to ThriveCart and I was like, oh, I don't like these. I need to find a template. And then I found you and I was like, thank you. I love that. Thank you, Dama. Bri, over to you. Tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Hey friends, I am Brianca Kirkman. I am the founder and CEO of Brianca Johnson and Company. I got married and that's why my name is different. But I am a marketing and automation strategist. Basically, what I like to do is help my clients implement their marketing strategy using simple marketing automation so that way they can incorporate an authentic brand personality, launch sustainable offers, and grow their business.
Yes, beautiful. And I actually stalk you on social media. That's how I know you, because I feel like, and I've been on your email list for a while. So I feel like when I wanted to have this conversation, I was like, I know who to ask. Okay. So I want to start at the beginning. And I'd love to know what inspired you to start down the automation path, the marketing automation path. Because I know for me personally, there were a few moments where when I started my business, doing what we all do, I had a Google Sheet or a Google Doc as my everything and then manually emailing out things to clients. And I was like, there's got to be a better way. So I wonder if there's an origin story. Colie, let's start with you.
I was trying to automate just about everything that I could in my business. And so I just landed on marketing seems to be the only thing that I'm still doing manually. What can I possibly put into my business to automate that part as well? Because the client experience part, I mean, even before I was setting systems up for other people, it was a big thing that I dedicated time to improving the back end of my own business. And so then when I started getting into email marketing and funnels and ads and all of this, I was like, okay, there's got to be a better way for me to automate this just as well as the client experience that I was giving, like my photography clients on the back end.
Yeah. I love that. Dama, what about you? What's your marketing origin story?
Mine actually goes back to before business. So before I started an online business, I was deep into Pinterest, but like for baking and gardening and travel and stuff. And so my favorite scroll thing was to scroll Pinterest. And I saw this random blog post and it talked about if this, then that. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's like an automation software for normies, not for business people, which I kind of was interested in, but it didn't really go anywhere. And then I started my business and I still had this in the back of my head of like, how can I tell it? If I do this, then you do that. I just loved that concept and the name, if this, then that sort of just stuck in my head. So as soon as I started my business, I became like immediately obsessed. You have this balance when you're brand new of like doing everything as cheaply as possible. But then when you're like, you were like, what can I do with this 100 free zaps? What can I do with the free tier of MailerLite? Like, how can I get everything for free? But it very quickly was like, okay, now you're getting clients and you're booked out. You better just automate some crap, lady, because you are dragging. It's not a good look. So yeah, as soon as I kind of like got going with my service provider business, I was like, oof, automate all the things. Let's go. Let's set up the teeny tiny little nerdy rules so that I can work less. And if I'm working, let it be in revenue generating activity instead of me doing the tedious copy and paste yawn stuff.
Yes, you unlocked a memory with if this and that. I forgot that was a thing. It's like the precursor to Zapier, however you say it.
Yeah.
Memory unlocked. I remember too, back in the day with Hootsuite, I had multiple Hootsuite accounts because you only could have like, 3 brands attached or 3 accounts attached. So I was hustling freelance mode, 2014, 10 years ago, Andrea. And like I had a free Hootsuite account for each client. So I was like logging out, logging back in again. I was like, there's got to be a better way. Oh, I can pay for the automation. There you go.
Oh, open my wallet. Ew.
Yeah. Oh, times. That's funny. Thank you, Dama. That's great. Bri, how about you? Like, what's your marketing automation origin story?
So I actually started my business while I was working in corporate as a digital director. And so when I worked in that role, I worked crazy hours, like almost 100 hours a week, but I still had this business. And so I was like, I have to figure out how to like operationalize this business so that it runs while I still am present in my corporate job and that they're not, over like interfering with one another. And so that's what I did. Like, I just started thinking about like, if this is what the strategy is for me, how much of this can I automate and like, what does it take for me to do that? And then I would start implementing those strategies and I would talk about it and I would share behind the scenes. And even in my membership, like when I talk to my students, I'm always telling them like, you didn't start this business so you could work 100 hours a week. And I know that from experience. So like, automation allows you to create more flexibility in your schedule. And so I really have been focused, especially once I had a kid, on like, how can I use automation so that way I can work 20 hours a week or less, but still be able to serve my clients, still feel like I have an omnipresent presence online, still, not feel disconnected, but also not feel like I have to be everywhere all the time, communicating all the time. And so automation's kind of like saved my business and my like mental health.
Yeah. I mean, after 100-hour weeks, I don't even know if you have any time, energy, capacity for anything.
No. No.
Wow. Props to you. Built out of necessity. So I want to talk a little bit about automations, and you all touched on this a little bit, but automations save us in so many different ways. even thinking back to me building my first email list on MailChimp, the idea that I could email a list of people consistently, they all receive the same message at the same time, was like mind blowing to me when I started my business. I didn't know that's how they did it. I thought it was a BCC on everything, right? So marketing automations save us so much time, and they streamline things. They make us look professional. So I'd love to hear a story about a time where marketing automation saved your bacon, like it saved the day. Colie, let's start with you.
I mean, it's not really a marketing automation. It's more client experience. But since I was in the process of selling, we'll just call it marketing. I have it set up to where when someone is booking a consultation call, I get a text message, like Zapier is taking that information and sending me a text message. And I guess I had accidentally forgot to mark my vacation on my calendar as busy, and it was marked as free. And I was at Disneyland and got a little text message that someone had booked a call for the next day. And I was like, no, wait, like my calendar is blocked off. Like, what are you talking about? So, I mean, if I didn't have that automation and I was totally in vacay mode, I would have completely ghosted that person, because I would not have looked at my calendar on vacation to see that someone had snuck in, because it was on my calendar for 4 full days, but somehow I forgot to click the busy button. So, yeah. I mean, it didn't make me look. I mean, I set up automations and systems. My systems have to work. So that was good. I let them know I was at Disneyland. And of course, everybody knows that I go to Disneyland constantly. So they were like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll just chat next week. I was like, thank you. I appreciate that.
I think that's the most unique way I've heard of using Zapier. I love it because now you can't miss it. You can't miss when those meetings come in. I have so many times where I had one yesterday where I got the reminder of a meeting that wasn't on my calendar. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. This isn't on my calendar. So I was like grateful for the reminder of it. But yeah, it's like, those automations help save us, because if we didn't have them, we would be out here just floating in space like, la, 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 everything's great. Mm-hmm. I love that. Thank you, Colie. Dama, over to you. What's a time that a marketing automation saved your bacon?
This is just I'm going to answer that, but I have a bonus thing on what Colie said. Sometimes when I go out of town, airlines let you have free Wi-Fi now. So sometimes I like to book launches for while I'm out of town, so I can be like on vacation and just have the Stripe notifications rolling through, but you don't always get them. So I like to set up a Zap where it goes from ThriveCart to WhatsApp. And I'm just like getting little messages while I'm chilling on the plane, watching a movie and like eating my snacks. It's just another fun way to remind me of things, but also like, can I just take a moment to celebrate the joy of like getting a sale while I'm at 37,000 feet? Mm-hmm. Anyway. Okay.
Yeah. Also, I have to say, Dama, launching while on vacation is wild to me. Like this, I need like a whole, like I'm not that brave. My anxiety could never. Time. Congrats to you. I need to take that course.
I do it often, and it's different from like I'm creating a thing and there's like a live element. But if like I'm doing a sale, I just had my 5th anniversary in my business. So over Memorial Day weekend, I but I planned and executed a sale, and I was like the emails were ready. I was like feeling good about that. And then I saw a deal to go to the Dominican Republic. So I was like, it looks like I'm going to the DR for the weekend. And we're like at the pool and there's like Stripe notifications coming through, and we came home and the sale ended. So I like to be home for when the sale ends, but I don't like to be in my business, working in my business during mid-cart. Like if the cart opens on Wednesday and closes on the following Tuesday, that weekend needs to have like distraction because there's that mid-cart lull and I need to not be thinking about it. So vacation, or I'll plan like a hike or something, just random little, for me, it's actually good for my anxiety to not be there during mid-cart or to be very engaged in something else during mid-cart. Yeah. But anyway,
okay. So continue.
Yeah. Okay. So you asked me like when marketing saved my bacon. This has happened a lot of times, basically all the time. But one that immediately stood out to me is I have this system where every single sale I make, gets pulled into Airtable, and it categorizes them. I can see my quarterly sales, my monthly sales, my all-time sales. I can see it by type, by offer. And what I love about that is that one, I don't have to do anything about it. Two, I use webhooks, so it does not even cost me a zap. So there's joy there, but it lets me see a bird's eye view of like, how are my offers doing? How has this offer done lifetime? How has it done just in this quarter? And I can see even by category, like, oh, okay, Q1, like people were buying this. And then in Q2, they're buying templates. And now, I can actually see that. So it's really helped me to see the bird's eye view, because it's sometimes kind of hard to see all the stats and then see them in like a way that is easy for your brain to interpret, like a pie chart in an Airtable, not base, but interface. Thank you. But like a bar chart or a bar chart or something like that. So it's helped me make decisions like when it's time to pull an offer, when it's time to adjust the price of things, when it's time to, I'm about to pull this offer, shut up. No, I'm not. It's still making sales. Slow down, so it's let me see the data at a bird's eye view and make the data has made the decision, and like it, not me and my tender emotions. I just have the emotions just need to get on board with what the data is. So that has saved me from pulling offers, or from doing things like maybe like an emotional reaction, like no one's buying it then, or whatever. It just helped me make that system in general takes the emotion out of the sales. And I also don't have to do anything to create it. I created the interface and the base, and then it just populates these cutie pie little charts for me, which are a joy to look at. So that helps a lot.
I love that. Yeah. And I love that you said too, the emotions aren't running the show, like the data is, the data is. So I love that too. Thank you, Dama. I love it. Dama, sorry. Love that. Bree, over to you. What is a time? Tell us a moment when marketing automation saved your bacon.
Yeah, so this is kind of a glam scenario, but a real life one. Recently, I had to take an unexpected bereavement leave. And because all of my automations were set up, I was able to onboard clients into my membership. They were able to come seamlessly into the membership, complete their onboarding forms, schedule their first call. So I was like completely checked out from my phone and from my computer, but people are still going through my funnels. They're still onboarding into products, into programs and things like that. And I led for bereavement on the first day of my launch. And so it was like, nice is not the right word, but it was like nice to know that even though I was out, that my business did not stop because of something that happened in my personal life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like this is one of those moments where we can like stop and be grateful for the business, because in a traditional job setting, it can be hard to take the time you need. I think, depending on your job, there's like a certain number of bereavement days you get. And it's like, this is the only time you get to like take the time you need. What if you need more? You can't sometimes you literally can't get it. But because we get the freedom that comes with building our own business, we get to decide those things. And then you get to take the time you need while still having the marketing automations in the background. So I love that. Next question. I want to talk about tools and tech. I know tools and tech sometimes can be the end of the puzzle, but sometimes as well, it's really, really helpful to hear the tools that other people are using. I'm an Airtable girly through and through. Give me the bases, the interfaces, the forms even now have conditional formatting, which I love. However, I have like dipped my toe into Notion and I'm like, oh, okay, I can see how this could work as well. So I'm loving all of the marketing automation tools, and I'd love to know what tools you cannot live without and why. Colie, let's start with you.
I mean, I'm going to say Airtable. I could pick another one, but like literally, I just wrote a blog post and I was basically identifying and kind of giving bullet points for each hub that I have in my business and what I can do inside of each one of the hubs. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, I mean, I wake up every day and I'm like, what can Airtable do for me today? As Dama said, I zap everything into Airtable. I use it to manage my podcast. I'm now using it to manage all of the rest of my marketing content, like the evergreen emails and those kinds of things. So I love Airtable. If I have to pick another one that's like maybe more focused on actual marketing, I would say that I really dig Metricool. And I know that you do too. Like as a scheduling planner, piece of software. I love that it not only lets me or my team members schedule out content for like weeks at a time, but also all that data that it gives you when you log in. So I no longer have my team members write down what our starting Instagram follower count was at the beginning and the end of the month, or like YouTube subscribers, none of that. Because when you log into Metricool, it gives you all of that data for all of the marketing channels that you have connected. And so it's kind of like a 2-for-1. Like you automate the posting of your content, but also you no longer have to manually write down all of your data related to the marketing so that you can make those kinds of decisions of, should I continue to do this or what should I do next?
Yes, I love Metricool. I've been using them for a little less than a year now, and their analytics hub, it's like chef's kiss. This is what I was looking for because I tried them all. And they're not great. And I love them for the analytics too. Okay, cool. 2-for-1. Love it. Dama, over to you. What is the marketing automation tool you cannot live without and why?
This is tough because I truly, 2-for-1, I cannot live without ThriveCart or Airtable, but push comes to shove, a rock solid checkout and course system, like a full funnel system built in ThriveCart, is an absolute non-negotiable for me. I just have to have it because I need to be able to be binging grays and eating popcorn and something like that. And then someone lands on my ThriveCart, on my sales page, built in ThriveCart, grabs the main offer, grabs the bump, ThriveCart sends them to a success page, enrolls them, sends them their login link. They get an automated email because Drip and ThriveCart are connected, and it's like a cozy little welcome and an invite to join my affiliate program. They can join my affiliate program, grab a link, promote, earn, and even get paid without me getting off of the couch or being awake or being hands-on or literally doing nothing for it, just chilling and getting the text messages. Like this is amazing. So I love Airtable and I use it every single day in my business. But yeah, the one that I couldn't possibly live without is just a rock solid, like my rock solid system inside ThriveCart. And so I love that it's, yeah, I mean, if that's not the online biz dream, then I don't know what is. But yes, Airtable is a very close second because I love my webhooks. I love my little bases, my little automations, my little systems. I love it.
Yay. I love that. Okay. I need to dive deeper into ThriveCart. I've been using it for maybe 2 years now. And I have it set up, but the only thing I don't have set up is the like 1-click upsell. That's the like next thing on my list where I'm like,
I've got
there's a Dama course on this. I need to dive into this module.
Yeah, that particular course is my absolute highest ROI course because when people implement it, they're like, oh, and they finally get how upsells work inside ThriveCart. They're like, oh, like it all clicks. And right now, upsells and bumps are like an extra 20% on every single launch. 20% of every single launch revenue is upsells and bumps. So let's talk.
Yeah.
I have fell victim to a few of her upsells and downsells. I'm just saying. I go to buy one thing.
I like to make them irresistible. I don't play around. I came to get it done.
Yes. I love that. Thank you, Dama. Okay, Bri, over to you. What's the number one marketing automation tool you cannot live without and why?
Definitely Airtable. I use it for everything, like especially my onboarding experience because I can send emails and I can follow up. Even like discovery calls. You book a discovery call with me, you're getting those follow-up emails. You're, getting emails if you book a discovery call, but you don't enroll into a service immediately. Like those follow-up, like that entire system that I built in Airtable pretty much runs my business 24/7. And I feel like once you know how to do it, it's like you could do anything in Airtable. So I really love it.
So are you sending emails from, is it SendOwl that's in Airtable or is it just?
No, I just send them straight from Gmail in Airtable.
Wait, how did I not know about this?
Are you not doing this?
Really? Oh my God, you're about to like
chat when this is done.
Yeah, we're about to blow your mind.
It is the most phenomenal thing ever. I love it.
Is this like the confirmation email? Like if
No.
on the podcast, I'm like,
you're seeing the
reveal.
Yes.
And
you can send any kind of email. Mm-hmm. So like, let's say someone booked a discovery call and you wanted to, they booked a discovery call, you had the call, but they didn't enroll in the service. And so 2 days later, you want to send an email that's like, hey, Andrea, I was so excited to chat with you during our discovery call on XYZ date. And you can insert the date because you have that information in the table because Airtable and Calendly are connected. But you can and you can just and it feels so custom because all of the information is plugged in from connections that you have with other tools and software that you have. So you could send upsell emails using Dama's system that's like, hey, I know that you purchased XYZ product, and you can pull in the product because it's in your Airtable base, and you can say, this would be an excellent complement to that. And you can set it up so it runs automatically. And it's wonderful. And I think because obviously you can do segmentation and things like that in ConvertKit or Klaviyo, et cetera. Obviously you could do that. But there's something about it coming from a Gmail in a very hands-off, low touch, organic, we're friends kind of way that just works perfectly. And I love it.
Okay, so I have my whole week is going to be completely redirected to this project now because I am where have I been? So we have a question here from one of our members of the Savvy Social School. Alan's asking, are you basically using Airtable as a CRM? So when someone books a call with you, it goes, okay.
Yeah, I don't really consider it as that because I do have Dubsado and I send contracts and things like that through Dubsado. So I don't consider Airtable to be my CRM. I consider it to be more of a data manager, just where all of the data from all of the multiple places are in this one place where I can see it at a glance. And then from there, I think about what I want that customer journey to be. And I'm able to direct my customers on that journey using the automations in Airtable. And it's just much simpler. So I don't really consider it to be a CRM. I'm not looking at it in that way. But it does help me to nurture them along whatever path they're on based on a decision or an action that they've taken in a way that I wouldn't if I was marketing to someone who I hadn't had a previous engagement with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense because you've had a conversation with them so you can personalize the experience after that.
Mm-hmm.
Wild.
And even if they're not on your email list, they'll get that email. So even if they were previously on your list and they unsubscribed, they'll get that email. You can automate Slack things with Airtable. You can automate a Google Calendar invite. You can you got to poke around the
Google
actions
forms.
Yeah,
and I poke around the actions.
And I will just
you can update and change records. Okay, I'll show.
Oh, I'm sorry. I will just say because the person specifically asked about the CRM, as someone who sets up things like Dubsado and Honeybook, I am recommending to more and more people now that you use your actual CRM to book someone, which is to nurture them into signing the proposal, signing the contract, and then paying the invoice. And then so many people are now moving over the rest of their client experience into Airtable because of the way that you can look at everyone at once and you can set up these kind of if-then conditional automations on the back end that none of the CRMs allow us to do at this point.
Wild. Okay. Completely derailed, but also delightfully so because I am going to dive both feet into sending emails through Airtable, which for some reason I didn't know was a thing before now. I thought you had to have a tool to do this, and maybe this is a newer thing.
So there's two things, Andrea. There's one that says send email, and then there's one that says send Gmail. You just need to activate the send Gmail. You log in one time, and then
and it's done.
Yeah.
See, there you go. And here I was thinking, so we used Airtable for influencer management for one of our clients probably 3 years ago now. And so we purchased a separate tool, SendFox. That's what it was. I said send out, but SendFox, where you could set, so we could email our influencers based on certain parameters, did they participate in this last campaign or, have they not participated yet? All of those things, which I knew I could do. But now you're telling me I can connect it to Gmail. My world has opened up and I appreciate all of you for this conversation. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I have more specific questions for each of you when we get back. But first, a word from our sponsors. If you are launching anything on social media right now, I've got to share with you my free launch planner. Now listen, this is not a new thing, but I completely updated it for here, now, and today, and you can grab it by going to onlinedrea.com/launch. Inside, you will find not only your launch posting kit, but a pre and post launch plan and a full 24-day social media launch calendar. This is exactly what I teach inside of my programs, and I'm giving it to you away for free. Try it out for yourself, onlinedrea.com/launch. All right. And we're back. So I have questions for each of you specifically. And I want to start with Dama. How do you balance the world of automations while also maintaining a personal touch with all of the things that you do?
Okay, so this might be controversial, but everything written in my business, pretty much every email is written by me. I think AI can do a lot of things, but what she can't do is write for me. She cannot do that. Like I need my email. Everything like my emails sound like the way that I talk because I literally am just opening up drip and spitballing. So all emails sound like me. So I think that adds this personal touch because I really just talk to people. My tone is very casual, informal, friendly, and AI just can't do that, I feel like. So anyway, I write it all. I don't use AI for any of that stuff. And I'm always looking for different ways to bring in personalization to things. So things like obviously they're merge fields, like for their name or this and that. But I do really careful tracking with my email list of like source, like what brought them into my world. So it was that collab that I did with Megan, or was it that summit that I spoke in? So every single new lead gets tracked with like a source. And so I can remind them like, hey, we first met via blah, 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 like Andrea Jones podcast, right? And so I can add that information there. And so I like to pull those things in. I'm always looking for ways to pull in personalization. I'm a natural question asker, so I like to ask a lot of questions so people can reply. And I may not reply straight away, but I always prioritize, like if somebody replied to one of my marketing emails that I automated, especially like my forever funnel or my nurture sequence, like I prioritize making sure I get back to them. And so that is a detached sort of automation world, but I'm still the beating heart behind it. And so just trying to bring in my voice, my sound, and making sure that if they are engaging, then I'm engaging right back with them.
Yeah, I love that you add that human touch. I think there's going to be a premium on the human side of things because AI can technically do these things. We don't really want it because they can't come up with the stories that we have, like our personal experiences. And even as much as I love AI and the tools, copywriting ain't it. Like I got so frustrated yesterday with some copy that it was just coming across so stale. I was like, AI, just write this like RuPaul would say it. And she went too far. I was like, no, okay, never mind. I don't want any of this. And it's all terrible. I'll just write it myself. So yeah, I agree with you. As amazing as the robots are, not quite for the copywriting, not for me. Okay, great. I love that. Thank you, Dama. Next question goes to Colie. Sorry, I keep saying your name is Colie. All right. Next question goes to Colie. What's the most innovative automation campaign you've run? And give us some of the results.
Okay, I want to make sure that I mention this one because it had an incredibly small number of people, but I feel like the return, people are going to be like, wow, you made $7,000 off of that. We haven't talked yet about ManyChat. So ManyChat is an AI bot, which you can attach to your Instagram, and they bought it now. So there's no like, should you use it? Shouldn't you use it? They're penalizing you if you do. I mean, it is an Instagram product now. So when you attach it, there's no fear of them penalizing you. But I was planning on offering HoneyBook services. I had been like strictly a Dubsado girl. I said some really mean, ugly things about HoneyBook for years. I take them all back now. Well, I take most of them back. But I was introducing HoneyBook into my business, and I was like, I should do a wait list for HoneyBook. I had planned on doing a course. I was doing VIP days. So I just put it out on Instagram, and I only did it twice. I just said, hey guys, I mean, you've heard me talk about HoneyBook, but I am going to be doing beta offers for HoneyBook soon. if you would like that information, please DM me the word honeybook or reply to this particular post, and I will add you to the wait list. Now, I only had 12 people click the link or do the honeybook, right? Out of those 12 people, 10 people finished the automation, which in this case was give me your name, give me your email. So off of 10 people, I made $7,000. I think 7 of the 10 ended up being purchasers of beta. And I mean, you don't want hundreds of people to get your beta. You just want some people to do it so that you can run it through, you can make the improvements, and then you can sell it at full price or, whatever it is that you want to do for the next step. So I loved the fact that all I did was 2 posts, 12 people started, 10 people finished, 7 people ended up buying. And I will say that one of those 2 people who didn't finish the automation, she was actually the first person to hire me to do Honeybook full price. Like, she didn't finish the automation, but yet and still she was still following me. She was still paying attention. And so when I announced it, she paid the full price. So $7,000 off of 2 posts. I think that's a really good return on investment.
Yeah, I agree. And I love ManyChat, but it's a little bit controversial. Have you heard any of the controversy around it where people...
The current new one where they're telling you not to do the DM words. And I mean, yes, but also it's still working. And so, I mean, because I got such a large return on investment on such a small number of people, I mean, Honeybook is penalizing me anyways. I don't know about you guys, but less than I swear 0.5% of the people who follow me are actually seeing my stuff.
Oh, you mean Instagram?
Yes, I mean Instagram.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, whether I'm using ManyChat or not, it's bad. At least it's bad for me. So I'm working on moving towards not really focusing. I mean, I'm working on more emails and blogging and the podcast. But I mean, I just feel like I'm already getting penalized on Instagram. And so using ManyChat, if it's saving me the automations, I don't care that I'm possibly getting penalized for it. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm team ManyChat as well. I think that there are some people who don't like that they have to put the keyword personally. And so it feels like they're on some sort of mission to say ManyChat, nobody likes it. And I'm like, the data showing on my end that people actually take way more action with this comment the keyword situation versus click on the profile, then click on the link in the bio, then look through all my links that I have here, then click on that link, then go to the page and enter your email. It's already too many steps, right? And so I like that I can say, DM me this keyword. And then in the DM, I can say, what's your email address? Mm-hmm. And then let me get you this thing right now. And it connects to my ConvertKit and I love it.
Because most people don't want to leave. I mean, I treasure my morning scroll. There is almost nothing that you are going to get for me to stop watching reels with my first cup of coffee in bed in the morning. And if you have sparked my interest, I don't want to click on 5 different links, like you said, and then go to your website and type in my stuff on your thing. And then I wait for an email. No, I would rather just do it all in the DMs. And then there's a record. If I wanted to know, Andrea had that thing, but I can't remember what her name was or what the thing was. I could just scroll through my messages and see, what it was that I sent. The worst thing is seeing something on Instagram and it refreshes and it's gone or whatever it is before you take action. And then you're like, oh my God, it's gone. And then you can't remember anything about it. That is just the most frustrating thing for me. So if people make it easy for me to opt in and say yes, while I'm on my scroll, not having to really leave Instagram and then come back, I mean, that's bonus points for you. It is more likely that I am going to buy whatever it is that you are trying to sell me.
Yeah, make it easy for me. I love it. I love it. Okay, Bri, over to you. I'm curious about what trends you're seeing emerging, specifically with marketing automations. What should we prepare for as business owners?
So I think that a lot of people are really, I feel like for a long time, it was so focused, internet was so focused on build it big and hire the big team and make it super complicated. They weren't telling you to make it super complicated, but it was becoming these very elaborate, complicated businesses. And I think now what we're seeing is this desire for things to be simpler, for us to go back to the basics, for us to think about how we were doing business before we were kind of bamboozled into this idea of having big teams and scaling and things like that. And so I think with that, right, is you see a lot of people really tuning their or pruning their tools. They're getting rid of all these tools that they're paying for, and they're trying to think about like, how do I run this business on the least amount of tech with the simplest automations, and save myself the cost of 3 or 2 team members. And I honestly really like this trend, because I think that a lot of times, like what we saw when people were trying to automate their entire business or trying to hire people to run their entire business for them, was that they had these long, elaborate, kind of ridiculous automations, and they had no idea where anything was if something broke down. So if a client came through and they didn't get, the right email, or they didn't get the right link, you had no idea where to go to find it, to fix it, or update the automation, et cetera, because you had 15 tools connected to one automation, or you had 7 hands touching the same process, or things like that. And so I think with us going back to a more simpler process for these things, I just think it's going to be overall more efficient. And I think will take away some of the time that we've spent on the back end of our business, and allow us to think more innovatively about how we show up and how we connect with our clients and our students, and like focus more on like building community versus building this like elaborate spider web chaotic mess of like automations and team members and things like that.
Yeah, I agree. If someone else had set up my Zapier for me, I wouldn't even know what I was looking at. Like, I feel like I'm the only one on my team who truly knows how everything's connected. And you're right. Like, we don't need sometimes all of the team and all of the multiple steps. Like, let's make it easy. So yeah, I love this trend for us collectively, and I hope we continue doing it. Okay, next question I have is for Dama. How do you manage your time and energy to avoid becoming overly reliant on automation?
That's a really interesting question, because I'm not sure I could become overly reliant on automation, but because I have so many automated systems set up for sales, for customer service, for nurture, for this, for that, for all kinds of different things, that I can kind of easily, it's gotten to the point that I can kind of easily check out or sort of submarine for periods, which is great. Like, you should submarine on the weekend and enjoy your time with your family or whatever. It's good for balance, but it's not so great when I submarine too long. And then I start to feel kind of disconnected from my audience or from my students. So I sell templates and like all self-study stuff. I do a group program twice a year, and I'm very like intentional about enrollment and when it opens and closes, because I like to disconnect when I usually have a trip planned for right when the cohort ends, because I'm kind of ready for it. But I start to feel a little too distant or disconnected from my audience. So when I feel that way, because the automations are doing their magic, and I just kind of want to interact with people, I go hang out on Threads, which is where I see most of y'all. I'm going to need to connect with Bri on Threads. But I'll go hang out on Threads. I'll peek at the support tickets that my assistant has already answered for me, just because I'm kind of curious, like what's on people's minds. And then I like to do kind of random pop-up events. Like, I'll host a random live Q&A as a bonus for something. Or if like, I'm deciding to add a new thing to this offer, and I'll do a little discount for it. And for that week only, I'll do a bonus Q&A or a bonus, like a coaching call or something like that. So I like to experiment with this, keeping my self-study boundaries, which is kind of good for my mental health, but then adding in little like spurts of heavy interaction, heavy peopling, because I don't want to feel disconnected, but I can't mentally, like emotionally sustain it all the time. So I've experimented with some interactive things that are short-term, that accompany self-study things. Like, I recently did an asynchronous Ask Me Anything. I used Video Ask for that. It went Video Ask connected to an Airtable base, connected to Softer, nerd alert. So like all the nerdy things. But like, yeah, I did this asynchronous Ask Me Anything. I've done Voxer office hours. I've like really want to experiment with a Telegram channel, like a broadcast channel next, or I've just kind of do like a random Zoom Q&A call where I'm just like, let's just vibe. Let's vibe a little bit. What are you guys working on? Where are you getting stuck? Because that also helps me have content ideas. And like, sometimes you just don't know what they don't know until you're interacting with your people. And one other last little thing where I like to take the automation out of my business and just be live and very like when you're live, you really can't hide behind like there's like you can't put on polish. It's just like I'm real. I messed up this or this slide has a typo or whatever, you know. So I like to do like every 6 weeks or so, I'll do a live training where I'll prepare all the like tutorials and templates in advance, but the strategy portion of it, I love to do that live because it puts me in connection with people, and it would be fine if it were pre-recorded, but I like seeing the light bulb moments popping off on their faces or on the chat. I actually encourage people to be camera on or to let them know your face is not going to be in the recording. So feel free to be camera on if you want. I like to see the light bulb moments. I like to see the follow-up questions. I just like to see that engagement happening in the chat, that I'm not like drop a 1 if you're whatever, trying to force the engagement. They're just like, they're feeling it. They're having a light bulb moment, or I'll say a thing and they'll be like, oh my God, yes, I've always wondered about that. So I like seeing that strategy come to life. And so seeing them kind of get up and like get lit to implement it is just fun. So I'll incorporate periodic live things. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to submarine again with like my peopleness. That was a lot of peopling. And then I'll kind of go back to my little self-study corner. But every so often I feel the yen to be like, oh, I want to extrovert out and connect with my people. And then, you know, I do little submarines.
Yeah, there should be a study somewhere about like extrovert, introvert, like, do you work in an office? Do you own a business? Because like I am very much introverted. Like by the way, submarining, I had never heard of this until now. And as soon as you said it, I was like, I know exactly what you mean. I don't need a definition because that's me. That's what I do. Just give me my books, leave me alone. That's me.
I am so far underwater. Please do not disturb.
Yes, exactly. Do not disturb signs on. Yeah. And I think that automations help us be able to do that, right? Like we can customize our business experience, but I also love that you acknowledge that you do need to connect with your community members, because that allows you to get the feedback loop. It allows you to customize things even more. It allows you to stay in touch with like what they're thinking and feeling. So I love all that too.
As a random thing, though, they might not share like, oh, I wish it, they might not fill out my feedback form and say, this would be great, except it needs this. But somehow like on a live call, they'd be like, oh, can we have that? Or could you like it gives you, there's almost like a little bit like less of a filter, not in a nasty way, but in a helpful way. So I will often take feedback from like, oh yeah, that would be really cool. Or could we have that? Or, oh, is it possible to? And I don't usually get that in forms. I'm just like, now as I'm talking about it with you right now, like, oh, they kind of share a little bit more and they're a little bit more open and like almost like a family vibe when you're on live on a thing. So
yeah. Yeah. There's like it's less stuffy, right? It just feels like you're just chatting with a friend. Yeah, I like that. Okay, Colie, over to you. How do you make sure that your automations kind of all align with your values, your company's values, and you're not doing anything that gives you the ick?
I mean, I think the biggest thing that I try to do is practice what you preach. I mean, for those that don't know me, I homeschooled my kid for a year. The 2 years before that, she was virtual schooled, but she was home with me. I mean, I really try to tell people that you build a business so that your life can come first and not the opposite. And so when it comes to my automations, I'm always very clear to tell people what automation it is, why I created it, and basically how much time it saves me or what I'm able to do that is outside of my business, because that is what I personally value. Like, I mean, I talk about being at Disney all the time. I don't just do it so that I can sell products. Like, really, if you're not into Disney, it's okay. What would you rather be doing than answering 20 emails over and over again, saying the same thing, when you could write an email template that would do it for you and then you could move on about your business? So I think the biggest thing that I try to do is tell people automations help you build the business that you actually want and not the business that you feel forced into after you have like chosen this as your path. No one should be working 24/7 inside their business when most of those tasks we can take care of with some admin. And a lot of people are like, well, I can't hire anybody. But yeah, I'm talking about starting with automations. And once you start with the automations, if you hit the max of what an automation can do for you, then I highly encourage you to go seek out like some actual, human to human help. But automations can just do so much for us. And if we can get over the stigma that they turn you into a robot, or they take out your personality, or that your clients are going to be offended that it's not you personally answering them. If you can get over that mindset, there is like a beautiful business for you on the other side where you are not stuck to your phone or your computer. And when your kids talk to you, you don't have time to respond to them because you're too busy responding to your clients on your phone. So practice what I preach is what I try to do.
Yes, I love that. And I think part of it is like you're so clear about what is important to you as a business owner and those values, and that everything you do kind of feeds into that. And I think that's such a good baseline for everybody to consider. All right, last question goes to Bree. How do you use automations in your business to make sure there's a sense of community with the people in your audience?
Of course. So, I mean, naturally, I use ManyChat, but I use it in ways that are not just like selling. I like to ask questions and then based on like their answers, send follow-ups. So I might say like, you know, which of these is of interest to you? Like, are you trying to, I don't know, do you like apples or oranges? And if they reply like, I like oranges, I might say like, oh, I love oranges too. Like, this is where I get my oranges from, as a very strange, random off the top example. So I really like to use ManyChat to kind of like segment out where my audience members are and what their interests are. So that way I know how to follow up with them later on. And to even like follow up. So let's say I said, DM me a keyword because you wanted to download my lead magnet. I will add another part to that automation that's like a follow-up like 2 or 3 days later that's like, hey, Andrea, like I just wanted to check in. Were you able to access XYZ lead magnet? And if so, like what were your thoughts? Were you able to get to it, et cetera? One thing that I've learned about myself is that I am not necessarily the best at remembering to go back and pick up a conversation where it left off. And so I like to use automation and things like that to remember things that I know I'm going to like fall short on. So I might fall short to remember like, oh, it's my student's birthday. Let me send her a message. So I have automation set up to do that for me. I might, forget to check in on a client, who I know is having a launch or having an upcoming event. So when it's on my brain, I will go ahead and schedule the post or schedule the reminder, or schedule the follow-up to go ahead and check out or to send them a gift, for their launch or things like that. So I think that basically my like overall approach to it is that I really want to feel omnipresent. I want it to feel like I'm always there. I'm always remembering things. I'm always on top of it. And so when I write it down, like, hey, this client's birthday is coming up, or this client is launching, or this, whatever I want that like journey to be, I will set up the automation for that in real time. And so what it's evolved into is like this, like kind of like web of follow-ups or re-engagements, or circling back, things like that. Even down to like when clients book discovery calls or when they complete programs, we follow up after that. So you might complete a program and then 90 days later, we circle back to see like, how's it going? Or do you have any questions? And when I ask my students, like, do you have any questions? I'm willing to answer whatever those questions are, not necessarily for an additional fee or anything like that, but because I want to make sure that they have the support that they need. And so I feel like it's more of like a prompting, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I love that you're using these tools for follow-up. I'm the worst at remembering birthdays, like the absolute worst. So I use Postable, and I put all my clients in there, and they send handwritten birthday cards. Now I still customize them, and actually Jemmy on my team helps me with this. But if I didn't have that tool saying, hey, this person's birthday's coming up, you should send them a card, I would never do it. I wouldn't do it.
No, I would totally forget. And I think that's the point of automation, is that like, we are not going to remember everything, and we don't have to. Kind of like if you think about, like, I even use automations or things like that in my day-to-day life. Like I schedule all doctor's appointments around my birthday or around my kid's birthday, because your birthday is going to happen every year on the same day, no matter what. So now we can get this annual checkup on that same day every year. And so I think about automations in that same way. Like the purpose of an automation is to help me pick up where I may leave off, or to remember something for me that I may forget.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. And the running thread I noticed in a lot of our conversations today was about using automations to personalize experiences. So as all of you listening, watching to this, a big takeaway from this episode is not to use automations to turn into a robot, but to use automations to have personalized interactions at mass with people where you physically could not do this all at the same time. And so that you can really personalize experiences through these automation tools. And I love that for us. I love that. Okay. So as we close out our episode, I would love to know from each of you what's coming up next in your business and how we can connect with you. Let's start with you, Colie.
So in my business, I am planning on doing a birthday sale, which this episode is actually going to come out the week of my birthday. It is July 28th. So if you would like to know what I am doing inside of my birthday, please go to coliejames.com and sign up for my newsletter, and you will get all the goodies, delivered directly to your inbox by my automation assistant, and her name is Ashley.
I love that you gave her name too. I love that. Okay, Colie, thank you so much. Dama, over to you. What's going on next in your business and how can we connect with you?
You and I are doing a fun collaboration. So right around the time this podcast drops, you will have an opportunity. You might have heard me mention earlier in this call or did I mention it? I had another call with Colie today, so I'm a little bit losing my marbles. But I have this product called On Brand Fillable Workbooks. It has just under 5,000 students. This thing is has jet fuel strapped to its back. So many people have taken this training, implemented that same afternoon, which is my secret sauce. Here's the thing, here's how to do it, here's the no fluff. And then they go and implement, and it has really changed their freebie workflow, their course bonuses. It's all about using a Google Doc for a fillable interactive workbook. And it's a super short training, but Andrea is going to have a really juicy discount for you. So make sure you hang out with the two of us. But if you heard me earlier talking about how I can be on the couch binging Grays and eating kettle corn, don't miss my free mini training. It's a behind the scenes thing on how I do all of that. How did I actually set all those things up to bring that income while I'm chilling, completely inside ThriveCart. No zaps, no third-party platforms necessary. And you can find it on ThriveCart Template Shop ThriveCartTemplateshop.com/mini-training.
Yay. Awesome. Thank you, Dama. Bri, over to you. What is next in your business and how can we connect with you?
Of course. So you can follow me on all social media at the Brianca Johnson. I actually just released a 5-day email challenge called Make Them Remember You. And it's all about developing a memorable brand personality. And so definitely get that. It's on my website, briancajohnson.com. And consider enrolling into the Clarity to Coins membership, where we help our students package their expertise into a profitable offer and build a sustainable business.
Yay, I love that. And I will put all of these links, y'all, in the show notes, onlinedrea.com/315. Thanks again to my amazing guests on this episode. It was juicy. Y'all saw aha moments from me in real time, which I always love. We have more amazing episodes coming right up. But first, before you go, make sure you give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It helps keep us in the top 100 marketing podcasts. We were number 46 last week. So that's all thanks to your listenership, which I so appreciate and love. Keep up the good work there. Next week, I have Nikki McKnight. We're going to wrap up our conversation all about automations with her and really some foundational things that you should consider in your business. So I'll see you then. That's all for today. Bye.